If you are looking to start your strength training journey, kettlebells are an excellent tool. And why they're an excellent tool is because they do address all 7 pillars of fitness. They're offering this well-rounded, efficient, and effective workout approach. You know, again, I'm going to bring it back to swing to snatch. I've seen these women just make leaps and bounds. So yes, they're getting stronger. Yes, they're getting leaner. And they're also just getting way more confident. Welcome to the Dangerous Women podcast, where the intersection of fierceness and femininity fuels empowerment. Our goal is to provide women with insights to unleash their power. Grounded in the 7 principles of self-confidence, we guide women to embrace their duality, delicate as a flower, yet powerful as a bomb. I'm your host, Colleen Conlon, inviting you to join me as we explore topics on health and wellness, empowering you to embody the essence of your dangerous woman. Today, we're diving into the topic of why kettlebells are an excellent tool to begin your strength training journey. Kettlebells have been around for centuries, but they've recently gained popularity for their versatility and effectiveness in achieving a wide range of fitness goals. Now, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, kettlebells offer unique benefits that can enhance your training routine. So let's dive in. And if this is the first time that you're listening to one of my solo episodes and you don't know a whole lot about me, I want you to know that I am a hardstyle kettlebell expert, a 2-time Guinness World Record holder in the Turkish getup, which is one of the main hardstyle kettlebell skills. And I spend the majority of my time as a strength and conditioning coach for women. And the way we get started is with the kettlebell. So before we dive into specifics around the kettlebell, I just want to bring to your attention that there are 7 pillars of fitness. So when I say fitness, I want you to just notice what initially pops into your head. What do you think about? So the 7 pillars are as followed. We have strength, endurance, mobility, stability, coordination, power, and posture and alignment. Okay, those are the 7. So strength refers to building muscle and improving overall strength. Endurance refers to enhancing cardiovascular and muscular endurance. Mobility refers to the ability that a joint has to move freely through full range of motion. Stability refers to the ability to maintain control of joint movement or position. Coordination is enhancing the synchronization of movements. Power is the development or the ability to exert force quickly. And then posture and alignment is going to be what is ensuring that joints and muscles are working together optimally, distributing forces evenly and reducing unnecessary stress on a particular area of the body. So kettlebells are fantastic because they can address all 7 pillars. So think about this for a second. There's so many different ways somebody can work out. We have boxing and swimming and dancing and Olympic lifting and breakdance fighting. We have so many different things, but the reason this is so fantastic is because it happens to hit all 7. So if we look at something like running, I would say running is, aces in regards to hitting the pillar that is endurance, right? But if we look at running in relation to building strength, it's not there. If we look at running in relationship to coordination or mobility, it's not there. With kettlebells, this is the one-stop shop where you really do get equal playing field of all 7 pillars, so long as you know how to use the modality and you're following a program that is helping you to do so. But that's what we're going to dive into a little bit more right now. So let's break down these 7 pillars in regards to the kettlebell. Strength. So kettlebells are perfect for building strength. They have this unique shape, the handle, the design. It allows for dynamic movements that engage multiple muscle groups simultaneously. You can do exercises like deadlifts, goblet squats, Turkish get-ups, and they're going to challenge muscles in ways that might seem traditional, like a deadlift or a squat, or not really traditional, like the Turkish get-up. And regardless of the exercise at hand, you have the ability to improve overall strength. Now, when we talk about endurance, kettlebell workouts often incorporate high repetition sets or continuous movements like complexes or flows, and that can significantly boost your cardiovascular and muscular endurance. So this combination of strength and cardio, it makes the kettlebell a efficient training tool to help improve your overall stamina. When we look at mobility and stability, they kind of go hand in hand. So mobility, think of an exercise like a Turkish get-up or a windmill, where it can kind of feel like I need to, stretch to get into it. I'm really looking to find some flexibility to get into some of these positions, especially if I'm not somebody who's, super mobile, and, we only get better at things when we practice them. So exercises like get-ups, windmills, they can really help to increase your mobility. And then with stability, that is where you're looking to have the strength to control that mobility so that, you're not walking around like a Macy's Day balloon with the bell up above your head. The next pillar is 5, it's coordination. And this is like think the fluid dynamic movements of the kettlebell exercises that you might see on social media or at the gym. They require precise timing and coordination to be executed safely and efficiently. So learning to control the kettlebell during stuff like swings, cleans, snatches, it improves your neuromuscular coordination, translating to better performance in other physical activities. Number 6, power. Kettlebell training is excellent for developing power. So the explosive nature of the movements like the kettlebell swing, the snatch, it trains your muscles to learn how to generate force quickly, which is crucial for athletic performance and or functional strength. The last one is posture and alignment. So with kettlebells, every time you're standing, you're trying to hit this proper standing position, right? Shoulders back, chest up, ribs pulled down, which most people, they're not even hitting this in their day-to-day. So many people, they're sitting at a desk, they're on their phone, their shoulders are hunched. When you're training this way, you're helping to realign the body the way the body is supposed to be going through life so that you're not having these aches and pains. Now, again, certain forms of training will hit each pillar better, but if you don't have all of the time in the world to go for the run and lift the barbell and take the yoga class and do, X, Y, and Z to hit everything, your one-stop shop is the kettlebell. And I want to be a little bit more specific on that. Your one-stop shop, in my opinion, is hardstyle kettlebell technique. So there's different ways to use the kettlebell. There is kettlebell sport, which I am not an expert at, but that is definitely very heavily focused on endurance work. Whereas hardstyle has a heavier emphasis on strength and power. And then from that, if you learn how to perform these skills, you can train endurance with them. It's just not going to be as efficient as kettlebell sport if that's the lane that you're trying to stay in. And other people, they'll just use the kettlebell in place of a dumbbell. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if your goal is to learn how to use the kettlebell, you need to learn how to actually use the kettlebell the way it was designed to be used. And something really specific to hardstyle kettlebell training is the fact that so many of the exercises that are being done are unilateral exercises. And yes, we can do them bilateral. And let me back up. Unilateral means one side of the body is working at a time. So maybe it's just one arm is holding onto the kettlebell. Whereas if you see most people using a barbell, 2 hands are on that barbell, okay? So with the kettlebell, most of the time, especially starting out, we're doing a lot of unilateral work. One hand on the bell, one leg is working, one side of the body. And this is freaking awesome because it's this type of training that helps to correct muscle imbalances, enhance core stability, and improve coordination. So if you're somebody who, you feel like, well, one part of my body isn't really like doing the work, I really feel this imbalance, or maybe you're somebody who's had a bunch of abdominal surgeries like me and you can't connect to your core for whatever reason, this is just a great tool to learn how to use it for a chunk of time, and then either stick with it or go on to something else. And kettlebells are also just like really excellent for people who are starting out because it is significantly less intimidating, I think, than something like a barbell. And it does offer a very dynamic range of motion, being able to perform exercises like a windmill, like a Turkish get up pretty early on in somebody's strength training journey. And it can also be significantly more forgiving for people who are newer to strength training. Like deadlifting with a kettlebell, there's a little bit more wiggle room for error versus deadlifting with a barbell, or even dumbbells for that matter. Kettlebells also allow for a smoother transition into learning complex movements due to their versatile design. Like due to the shape of the dumbbell versus the kettlebell. Kettlebell Catalyst, the exercise guide for women to build strength, lean muscle, and self-confidence to overcoming limiting beliefs, is a book I wrote for women to be empowered to get started with kettlebells. In this book, not only will you learn the 101 details of hardstyle kettlebell technique, but you will also meet lots of women who were brave enough to try using kettlebells and hear how they transformed both physically and mentally. To buy your copy, visit Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. You're going to have an easier time holding the kettlebell due to the weight distribution versus holding onto the dumbbell, and you're going to be able to make more progress because you're going to be able to lift something heavier more comfortably. And I will say that anybody who is getting started with the kettlebell and you're in the racked position, that's where the butt of the kettlebell is resting on your forearm, it's uncomfortable. It is. And the only way it gets comfortable is you have to do it. It's kind of like when you're playing guitar and you have to earn your calluses, or like kickboxing, like it really freaking hurts your shin to like smack the bag for the first time, but you start to almost like get comfortable with it. And that's all it takes to be able to rack the kettlebell. And once your body is accustomed to doing that, it's kind of like riding a bike. It's like, once I can do this, I'm not going to have to go back to the beginning and be super uncomfortable again. And I would say for anybody who is like super duper sensitive, using wrist guards in the beginning can be really helpful. So when I'm working with new women with kettlebells, a lot of the times I will encourage them to get sweatbands or even like a soft headband that they might have in their bathroom and wrap it around their forearm just to create a little bit of a barrier so it doesn't feel as aggressive as it does when it's just iron to skin. And then one other thing I really want to note is the fact that kettlebells are great for developing the mind-body connection. The focus required to perform kettlebell exercises correctly is huge. And it really allows for mindfulness and having to be present in your workout. Like the kettlebell, as forgiving as it can be in comparison to something like, the barbell, it's going to be really obvious if it looks like you know what you're doing or not, which is great when you're learning, because it's going to be one of those things where it's pretty obvious. It's going to be pretty obvious to know if you might be missing a piece to the puzzle. And being able to be more present in your body during exercise, it can translate to greater mindfulness in daily life, like helping you to become more aware and present in everything that you do. So if you are somebody who's a little bit all over the place, or maybe you're somebody who has had some type of traumatic experience where you feel kind of disconnected from your body, this could be a great way of coming back to self. And if you have grabbed a copy of my book, Kettlebell Catalyst, there are a couple of stories in regards to that. And there is a chapter on kettlebells and trauma and the body. And if you're somebody who's read The Body Keeps the Score, that's kind of the stuff I'm getting at in there. But being able to reconnect to your body is something that can happen with the kettlebells, again, because if you're missing a piece to the puzzle, it's going to be pretty freaking obvious. So now I'm going to get a little bit nerdier. And there was a previous episode on strength training and the types of strength training, because again, strength training, it's an umbrella term. And can we all benefit from any type of strength training? Absolutely we can. But if you have more specific goals, there's different things that you should be looking for in your strength training program. And I want you to know that regardless of if you have strength training goals around lifting like maximal weight, whether it's for something like a deadlift or something like a snatch, whether you have a goal in regards to building muscle and really focusing in on aesthetics, or maybe you have a goal in regards to increasing your stamina, like you can do all of those things with the kettlebell. It just comes back to how it's being programmed in and implemented by you. I would say specifically if you're thinking, how do what are some of the things I'm doing if I'm trying to increase maximal strength, like lifting something for like a 1 rep max with a kettlebell? That would be doing something like, a kettlebell deadlift or a squat or a Turkish get up. Like you can build significant muscle and strength. Again, the unique grip and the weight distribution of the bell itself, it's engaging in helping to stabilize these muscles that are often neglected. So regardless of if you're trying to go after strength with the kettlebell, be it a conventional or non-conventional type of a grind, you can do that. When we talk about power and kettlebells, think the swing, the clean, the snatch. We're trying to develop this explosive power. Again, these movements, they're requiring you to generate force quickly, and it's going to enhance your ability to perform very powerful, very dynamic actions. So strength and power are very similar because again, we're going after these maximal efforts, but I want you to think strength and the bell. I'm doing my grinds, which are my slower exercises. I gotta grind it out, a deadlift, a squat, a Turkish get up, a press. And then when I'm thinking power, I'm thinking those ballistic fast exercises, my swing, my clean, my snatch. And I'm trying to do these for lower reps. Like I'm aiming for like a 1 rep max or something within like a 1 to 5 rep range. When we're talking about hypertrophy, again, that's muscle growth. And you can use the kettlebell to perform slightly higher volume sets of movements like squats, deadlifts, presses, rows. And it's this constant tension and range of motion provided by using a tool like the bell that can lead to effective muscle hypertrophy. Somebody who's like really trying to go after hypertrophy, is the kettlebell going to be the all and be all thing you should use? Probably not. Like you probably also benefit from working with some machines and doing some more like specific bodybuilder type stuff, but you can do a lot in terms of muscle growth with the kettlebell, especially if you're getting started on your strength training journey. And then when we are thinking about endurance, this is going to be high repetition kettlebell circuits and continuous movements like swings or snatches that can really significantly boost your cardiovascular and muscular endurance. So kettlebell complexes, which combine multiple exercises into one continuous routine, are particularly effective for endurance training, as are EMOMs or potentially some type of an AMRAP. But then again, to like drive this point in a little bit more, in order to get these nuanced benefits, whether it's, honing in on strength, power, hypertrophy, or endurance, you do need to make sure you're following a program that's designed for that. But I would say for most people just starting out, learning how to use these kettlebells, playing with a little bit of everything, it's possible to touch upon all this stuff. And particularly the course that I run, Swing to Snatch, a 13-week kettlebell intensive, we happen to hit all of these things. And throughout the course, the women, they are getting significantly stronger. They are losing weight. They are getting leaner, and they're getting really fucking confident. But regardless of that, if you are looking to start your strength training journey, kettlebells are an excellent tool. And why they're an excellent tool is because they do address all 7 pillars of fitness. They're offering this well-rounded, efficient, and effective workout approach. You know, again, I'm going to bring it back to Swing to Snatch. I've seen these women just make leaps and bounds. So yes, they're getting stronger. Yes, they're getting leaner. And they're also just getting way more confident. And the confidence piece, I can't just say, pick up a kettlebell and it's going to make you confident, because that's not how it works. But being in this program, I see the confidence come out because learning how to use a kettlebell, it's hard. And when I bring women into this course, I have them use a testing size bell. So a testing size bell is a kettlebell weight that is given to you based on your age, your weight, and your gender. And in this course, there is a performance goal, and the performance goal is to be able to perform the big 6. That means 6 kettlebell exercises. That's kind of like our, bread and butter, which are the swing, the clean, the snatch, the Turkish get up, the squat, and the press. They're trying to be able to accomplish all 6 of these exercises with their testing size bell in 13 weeks. And it's a challenge. And the reason that they're able to gain this confidence is because they're taking on a challenge. When people ask me why are you so confident? How did you get this confidence? I got this confidence because I was in really challenging situations, and my option was either to, overcome the challenge or be really upset with myself for being stuck or being in a place that didn't feel good. So confidence emerges when you're put into challenging situations and you overcome them. And this course is designed for everybody to succeed. But in order to succeed, you have to show up for yourself. And your ability to be resilient, your ability to push yourself, the confidence is coming out. And by the end, every woman who gets to the end is always just oh my gosh, I feel like such a badass bitch. I can't believe I did that. And I'm just bitch, you did it. You showed up. You decided to, put in the work. You didn't give up. You stepped up to the challenge. And I'm so fucking proud of you. I'm so glad that you feel so much more confident in yourself, because you should, because you showed up for you. And if you're interested to hear some of the specific stories of women who have gone through my course, check out my book called Kettlebell Catalyst. You can get a copy of it on Amazon. The stories that some of these women share are really just mind-blowing. I've had women who have learned how to use the kettlebell. They've gone through this course and they've left toxic relationships. They now feel confident enough to open up in a safe space to share traumatic stories that have led them to having healing journeys. I've seen women move across the country. I've seen women transform their bodies. And the number one thing that I find is light. I think there's so many people who are just walking around this earth and they feel like there's no light left in them. This course is a way for you to find that missing light inside. And I love that. So if you're interested in this, definitely check it out. I have 2 different versions of the course. So I recently released a DIY version, which you could literally go to my website right now, buy it, and start on your own. And then I also offer a live virtual setting for the course as well. And I offer that a couple of times a year. So depending on when you're listening to this, definitely check out my website to learn more, which is www.colleenconlon.com. And as we wrap things up, again, I just want you to know, if you are a woman, you are interested in strength training, or maybe you have been strength training and you haven't spent any time with the kettlebell, it can really be a game changer. So definitely consider it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for listening to the Dangerous Women podcast. If you had any groundbreaking takeaways from today's episode, please tag us on social at The Dangerous Women. Thank you for listening to The Dangerous Women to make sure you never miss an episode. If you have any groundbreaking takeaways from today's episode, please tag us on social at The Dangerous Women Podcast.